Hello, everyone, and welcome to Medford Happenings, a show for and about the city of Medford. I am John Petrello, and the purpose of this program is to give Medford citizens facts and information to help you make informed choices. And our guest today is Michelle Corrado, who is the owner artisan of the Medford Soap Company. Welcome, Michelle, and thank you for joining us today. I want you to know up front, I am a big fan of your soap. I'm a customer, and my favorite is lemongrass. I just want everyone to know that before we even get show. But welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate
Yeah,
the opportunity for the conversation.
yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. So we're going to get right into it, Michelle. First of all, I guess, can you just give our audience a little background about yourself?
Sure. So I like to tell people, I'm born, bred, and never left Medford. So I was actually born at Lawrence Memorial Hospital many years ago and graduated Medford High School, class of '86. I kept it super local and even got my bachelor's at Tufts University in biology. Then I did go to Mass College of Pharmacy in Boston. So I'm a pharmacist by trade. I've been a practicing pharmacist for over 30 years now. Um, and I'm married, been married for a long time. Something
Good
years, almost
answer.
30 years. And I have two grown sons, as well as a stepson and some grandbabies through that stepson. Um, so that's kind of the Reader's Digest version of me.
Sounds good. Interesting. Interesting. All right. So the next question is, you know, what got you started in the soap business? And how did Medford Soap Company come about?
Sure. So a lot of people assume that it was a COVID thing, because a lot of people got into like soap making and sourdough bread during the pandemic. But for me, it was just after that. So my youngest is, what they call a COVID kid. He graduated high school in 2020. So it was a virtual, it was essentially a non-existent graduation, and then spent his freshman year in college at home and then was able to launch. So after he launched, I really, I'm fortunate that I get to I still work full time in pharmacy administration, but I work remote. So very fortunate for that. But then, at 4:30, 5 o'clock, my commute 30 seconds down the hall, then, I was spending, like 3 hours a night on Candy Crush. And I'm like, well, I can't do this for the next 30 years. So I kind of fell down a TikTok rabbit hole one day. If you linger a little too long on any video, then your feed is full of it. And I just lingered a little too long, I guess, on a soap making video. And that was in December of 2022. And in January of 2023, I filed my business papers with the city of Medford.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's how it came about. Very interesting story. I
Thank
like
you.
that. All right, so you get yourself started, Medford Soap Company. Um, what were your biggest challenges, and what challenges does your business still face, and do you see overcoming?
Sure. So one of the biggest challenges is probably me. I'm a very type A Leo, and I'm a very just like, go for it, let's do it, let's see what happens, and just course correct where we need to. So I tend to jump in with both feet, which is great. Like that's where my adrenaline rush is, but that's, where I can burn out or, have to find a little bit more balance.
Right.
So I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but my business I don't think could have grown as quickly if I kind of wasn't that type of personality. I used to do distance running and train for that, and I think that has been very helpful because for any runner, like yes, there's the physicality, which I do not have. I'm not a naturally gifted runner, but really it's the mental training that you need with distance running to keep your body just going for that many hours when it doesn't want to, when it's in pain, when it's hungry. And so that mentality has really helped me. Like I said, I work full time during the day, and then I have to grow my business at night when I'm tired, when I'm cranky, when I'm hungry. Um, so I think that's one of kind of the challenges that any small business owner has. Often you're a company of one, and that means you are the creator, the label designer, the printer, the shipper, the receiver, the accountant, the lawyer.
You're
You
doing
have
it
to wear all
all.
those hats while you're trying to grow a business. So I think that's just kind of like a natural challenge of small business that I certainly, have gone through. In terms of like external factors for small business, I think it's just really hard, right? I probably got into this in the worst time in terms of the economy and the political environment and just, what people are dealing with in terms of finances and really, prioritizing what they need to prioritize, what they spend money on. So I figure if I can make it through this period, that's probably good. And I'd say one more external factor I throw in there, is no shade on my city, but it's really hard to establish a small business in Medford right now if you wanted to do like a brick and mortar location.
Right,
Retail space is essentially non-existent, and what is existing is extremely expensive. And I think that's why some of our city is frustrated now because you see, large corporate banks and driving schools and things like that filling up retail space because it's just really hard to get into.
right. No, it is. I mean, that was a great answer, by the way. Um, Honest answer.
Mhm.
That was nice. I like that. So now, if someone was looking to open a local small business, um, after hearing you, if they know it's going to be a little tough, but is there any advice? I mean, seriously, like advice or that you could offer people? There's a lot of people out there that
Yep.
they would love to, but there's a lot of challenges.
So I think it's doable, right? I think you just have to have the right expectations. And what I like to tell people is you need to figure out what this is for you. For me, I am, I'm getting a little burned out of pharmacy and healthcare. It's a tough field to be in. I've been in it for a long time. I've made a lot of positive contributions, but I'm just at that point in my life of, so what else? So for me, this is creating, as I'm thinking of exiting pharmacy and entering another business phase, the math needs to math, right? So that's what it
Right.
is for me. For some other people, it's to help their kids through college or to be able to afford that, extraordinary vacation once a year, or it's to help, you know, bridge a gap in bills. So I think you need to know what your goal is and then set it from there, because otherwise you could set yourself up for failure.
Yeah,
Um,
no, and that
you
happens.
know,
Unfortunately, it happens. Yeah.
right, right. And
Yeah.
I think, finding a community so there's lots of resources on social media and the web. Like I think you need to do your homework. I think you need to find out what you're getting into. Should I have done a little bit more homework? Probably, but again, that's not me. It's
Yeah.
getting figured out. But if somebody's really passionate about something, then I say dip your toe in. There's a lot of kind of no risk, low risk entry points that I think a small business can have. For me, the Medford Farmers Market has been a great proving ground.
Yep.
Um, for Good Vibes, another Medford-based business, has been an extraordinary partner for me. They have a ton of artisans that they work with, and they have several different locations. There's lots of different craft fairs that people can enter. So I think it's finding, just experiment. That's what I've said to some other small businesses have reached out to me and kind of had the same question. I'm like, just try it. Just see what the reaction is, see what the customers are looking for, see how people react to your products, and go from there.
You've really done a tremendous job. I can say that. And I know you're a hard worker because every time I go somewhere, you're there
From
some,
there.
yeah, no, you are. It's like wherever you go, you're gonna find Method soap. Um, so this is sort of like a three-part question. I think you probably answered a little bit of with the last question, but what have you been doing? Um, once you get to a certain point in a business, what do you do to remain successful? Is there a point you reach and, you know,
Yeah. So I don't think I've reached that yet. And I wouldn't, I mean, I think I'm successful for the goals that I've set for myself for like year one and year two, right? I feel as though I'm on a good trajectory. I think you have to be very resilient. You have to be business minded. So I do find for some of again, I think this gets back to making sure you're aligned with your own goals. If you need to replace an income, then you need to work your business like you're replacing an income. So you need to know what your expenses are, you need to know what your profit margins are, you need to know where need to know how much Venmo is taking from you versus PayPal versus the credit card company, right?
so,
You need to close your books at the end of the month. You need to have a tax accountant, like you need to operate like a business if that's what you want to do.
right, yeah.
Um, I think I kind of lost track of what the question was.
No, but no, you answered it. What do you do to remain?
Yeah.
I mean, you get to a
And be
certain point.
resilient and pivot,
Yeah,
right? So if something's not working, even if you're like, there have been things, and you can ask, the
yeah.
folks that kind of work alongside me, there have been some products that I thought were like, oh my God, people are going to eat this up. This is so cool. And I sold like one or two, and I
Yeah,
had to take it out of my line. And it like killed me. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like so cool. But if it's not what people want, then it's not what people want. And so you need to be able to pivot.
yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, a lot and that's a great answer because a lot of people, I know people that have gone into business. Their sales were way better than they could ever imagine. However, after a year or two, they're not making any money. The money's rolling in, but between everything else, so it's difficult. It
Right.
is. It can be. You got to be careful. Yeah. Um. So, what do you believe sets you apart? I mean, from your competition. Who do you consider your competition?
Yeah, that's a great question. I tell people, and it's laughable, I know, but I tell people my competition is like Bath and Body Works, Yankee Candle, kind of like those big corporations. I don't consider my competition to be the fellow soap vendor that's four tenths down for me,
Okay.
because to me, if you are making, I make a lot of products, but if we just like go back to my starting point, which was soap. If you are making truly natural soap, which means you're making from scratch, you are mixing oil and lye and making soap, that is soap. What is
Okay.
on the market really are detergents. And so I spend a lot of time just like educating folks of what the difference is. Your question, like, why should I buy your soap? My soap is $7 a bar.
Right.
It needs to be $7 a bar because if you look at the price that has happened in the world marketplace on olive oil, coconut oil, cocoa butter, shea butter, like these are butters and oils. They're not the detergent chemicals that you can manufacture in a plant, at drum size and just pour it in on pennies on the pound. And once you go through that with them, and they realize it, and you get them to try it, and they feel the difference. They see there's no soap scum in their tub anymore. They see their skin isn't flaking off anymore. Like that's the difference. So I think that's my competition is just to like going back to natural. We're very eco-conscious. We're very low waste, reuse, reduce, recycle.
Right. Yep.
We're vegan based. So, that resonates with some people. And so for the people that resonates with and is important to them, I think those are my people.
Yeah, no, I'm one of those people because, uh, I don't even remember the first time I bought your soap, but once I bought it, I was hooked because you're right. Everything you just said about it is true. It's an amazing product. That's the way I feel anyhow. No, it is. I mean, there is no flaking, there is nothing left in the tub or the whatever. It's like,
Right.
wow, once you use it, you really see, the difference and it's worth it. I mean, uh, I think I know what sets you apart, and be nice to let the audience know what sets you apart.
Thank you.
So, once again, your main competition then, it's not, I mean, it's basically the Bed Bath and Body, those types of operations.
Yeah, because again, and again, I don't mean to throw shade on corporations, like they
No,
have to make a dollar and they have very loyal followings and,
right,
there are people who are addicted to their scents and products and, everybody has to find what works for them. Um, I just encourage people to read, you really just have to read a label. If
yeah,
you compare, a label of my body butter versus a more commercial one or my soap versus a commercial one, you understand what's in there, what's in there. And so that's for me where it's at. I think most of Medford by now knows, I'm a breast cancer survivor. And once you go through that type of journey too, you're always, everybody thinks they're healthy, they're doing natural things, but when you go through something like that, you've got a little bit more eye to, all right, what can I do to reduce kind of my chemical exposure or clean my body from the inside and the outside as much as I
right.
can too. So that's part of my story too.
It's a great story. So now, I have to ask you this. If you could go back and change anything, you know, building the business, doing, if you had to start over, is there anything that you do differently looking back? Tough
Um,
question.
Yeah, I mean it's a hard question, right? Because like I tell people that would be like a question you could ask in life, right? If there's anything you could change in your 20s, would you
Right.
do it differently? And it's so hard to answer because everything that happens to us or that is divined by the universe puts you on the path you're supposed to be, right? So had I not started the way I had, I might not be where I am now. If I kind of a comfort zone picture. It would be great if I could have just walked into this beautiful, like 5,000 square foot space that
Yeah,
had manufacturing capability and a storefront and all that, right? Like you just kind of walked in. But I literally started in my kitchen and then like stole a quarter of the basement, then stole a third of the basement, then stole half of the basement, then refinished half the basement. Then, so like you're constantly rejiggering.
yeah,
But I think that's true of a lot of small businesses, what I see in the forums that I'm in and everything. Like people are starting in the spaces and with the means that they have at the time. And then
right.
as business grows, then they kind of grow that.
Okay. So you answered a bunch of questions that I have for you, but that's great. But I have to ask, you did answer it somewhat, you know, what is it that makes your product, you know, different from similar products? People go in a store, there's, 20 bars of soap and there's Medford soap. What separates you?
So I think if you're looking like on the shelf, like if it's a just a cold, like let me compare these three soaps on the shelf. I think again, I go back to my ingredient list that it's clean, it's vegan focused. We are low waste in our packaging, we reuse everything, um, and we give back to our community. So we have a fundraising program, and we do several different fundraisers throughout the year and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
I think if it was a more kind of warm environment where I'm there, right? I'm presenting my product. Something that I often counsel other burgeoning small business owners is kind of like what you point to. Like, why should they? If there are four of you, whatever it is you're making and whatever is side by side, if there's four of you similar businesses next to each other, why should they buy from you? And a lot of times it's the person.
okay,
So there's a connection, right? You have to make a connection with the company's purpose, with the owner or the artisan, and want to support them. Yes, they have to have great products. They're not going to buy crappy products just because they like you, or they might buy it once, but they're not going to come back.
yeah,
Um, but I think you also have to be part of the community, whatever that means, whether it's the community of the farmers market, the community of the town, the community of the soap makers.
right.
community of fellow artisans. You have to be someone who can run in those circles. And that's not for everybody either. Sometimes people get into small business because they're extremely introverted. I call myself an extroverted introvert, right? So while my comfort zone may be to be in my basement making soap, I also love going out to
Right.
markets and talking with people and talking about my products. And so I think those connections help as well.
That's a good thing. It really is. Um, I, I gotta ask, what are your top sellers? And aside from sales, what makes, I mean, what makes them a top seller?
Sure. So, obviously all my products have to do with colors and smells and textures. And so it's really finding kind of at least those big bucket niches where people are. Now, I know I threw shade on like Yankee Candle and Bath and Body Works before, but they've actually, institutionalized some scent profiles, that people like and that they kind of gravitate towards.
Okay.
Um, so my top selling soap is something people make fun of me for the name, but it's called Man Oh Man. And it's just a really nice cologne soap scent that both men and women like. And that has been the top selling soap since we opened the store, almost 3 years ago. So soap is my staple, but we've got a few dozen other products off of that. Right now, this season, whipped body butter is a big seller for us. Again, we have a lot of people who are looking to reduce their plastic footprint. So we do a lot of solid forms, like we have solid shampoo bars, solid conditioner, solid dish soap. Um, We've got like natural deodorants. We've got a men's line. We just started wickless candles, which are really nice because you don't have to worry about the flame or soot or whatever. So we try to I will only do things that fit with our mission. So a lot of people have asked me for like liquid hand soap, and I won't do it
Right.
because
Yep.
it's mostly water and mostly plastic. And I'm like, a bar of soap is better and lasts longer. So
Yes.
we do
Yep.
things that align with our mission that our customers are also looking for.
Yep. And I have to say, your soap does last longer. No, it really does. It lasts longer. I know that for sure it lasts longer. And I did try that brand you just mentioned. I liked it. I liked it a lot, but lemongrass is always going to be my, just is. Um, all right, so, you mentioned all these different flavors, aromas, scents. Um, I'm curious, how do you choose? I mean, you're making your soap, I mean, it's gotta be, I'm interested to know, how do you
Yeah.
come up with, like,
I get that question a lot, especially if you come to a farmer's market. I have about probably about 5 dozen different scents and designs of soaps. And that's what somebody says, like, how do you choose? And it's just really as the creative muse hits me. I tell people all the time that this is the creative outlet that I didn't even know I needed. And so it starts with a scent that I think, may resonate with people, or it resonates with me and I try it, or it's scents that people have asked for, or scent profiles. And I really just take it from there. There's kind of groupings, right? There's the food scents, there's the floral scents, there's the cologne scents.
right,
I try to not overwhelm people with too many choices, but they are the ones who are asking for all the choices. And so I just have fun. And again, it comes down to, like Rose. Rose was a top seller. It was neck and neck with Man Oh Man when I opened the store.
yep,
Tell you the last time I sold a rose bar, right? So some things have their seasons. Your lemongrass was a blockbuster. And then like the past 6 months kind of petered off and now
yeah,
it's picking up again, right?
yeah,
So if something falls off, then as much as I liked it or I loved it, like it gets shelved and maybe I'll try to bring it out again in a year or
yeah.
something. But it's really I follow what the demand is.
Yeah, well, if you ever gonna start making lemongrass, you're gonna let me know ahead of time, right? Because
Definitely.
I'll have to stock up. That's all I'm saying. Because It is, it's really good. Now, I hope your lemongrass sales go up. That's what
Yes,
I'm
there,
hoping
yes,
for
it's
because,
safe for now.
yeah, no, it really is. It's, um, my favorite. So that's, I mean, so, here's a question I probably shouldn't ask, but I want to mention this. Some sense, I mean, I know you base it on, customers, you try different scents, you have some that work great, some are so-so. But have you ever had some that just don't make it? I mean,
Yep. So I have one I thought was pretty cool. I called it Kiwi Grove. It really smelled like fresh kiwis.
wow,
I cannot give those bars away,
really?
right? Like it's just something that, so I tell people, well, it's still soap. Like maybe it's not your favorite, like I'll discount
Yeah,
them or I'll throw them in as free, I'll run promotions where it will be, buy so much, you
right,
get a free bar of soap. So I've had a couple. I've been very fortunate that I think that one and maybe one other one
yeah,
like have been real stinkers for me.
yeah,
But
see,
that's out of, like I said, like nearly a
yeah,
hundred different offerings that I've had. So I'd
right.
say all in all, I've got pretty good track record.
No, it is, I know that, and I just like, something like, I mean, when you mention kiwi, to me, I would probably buy that. I gotta be honest, I never, I didn't even know you had that flavor, that
Right. Well,
brand.
it's
Yeah.
hard to keep up with all of them. So
Yes, yeah, no, it is. You're right. You're right. Um, okay, so it's been very, very interesting listening to you. And as you know, I've been waiting for a while to get you on the show because it's really interesting how things go on and how you started Medford Soap, how you got to where you go. So, this is going to be the last question. I think we've covered just about everything. So, to me, this is the last, it's probably the most important question for you. And that is, how do people buy your products? Um, where is it available? And how do people order?
sure. So my website is www.medfordsoap.com. So that's available 24/7, 365. Has a pretty good search function, and we do rewards. So the more you order online, you earn points that you can use for discounts off your purchases or free shipping. We do offer flat rate shipping at
Okay.
$6.95 or free shipping for $75 and over. I also do free pickup, and I will bring it like if you're going, well, tomorrow is the last Medford Farmers Market. I'm not sure when this will
Right.
air.
Yeah.
Thursday, October 16th is the last farmers market. But can bring products to farmers markets. If you follow me on social media, I am most active on Facebook. I always post where I'm going to pop up. As you know, John, I pop up
Yes.
a different
Yes.
places. Um,
Everywhere. Yeah.
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 So, because part of the fun is coming and shopping, and smelling it and trying them in person. The Four Good Vibes location on Main Street in South Medford. I have a selection of my products there as
Oh, you
well.
in South
Yep.
Memphis. Okay, not
Yep,
too good.
exactly. So you can always have it there. And I should have given a shout out to, I do want to give a little plug to the Medford Chamber of Commerce because they are doing a lot of work to try to assist what, I kind of fall into the micro business
Right. Yep.
category. So I am a member of the chamber. They do offer a
Very
discounted
nice.
first year. I know that the annual fee can seem like a little steep to small businesses who don't have a lot of disposable income. But I think again, that's a way, especially for the first year where it's discounted, you need to make connections within the city. And I think that's a great way to do it. Allows you to participate in Oktoberfest, which I think again is another great way to
Yeah.
showcase, as well as all of the other great events that they
Right.
have. So um, I just want to mention that, like you said, other advice for other small businesses in Medford. I think that would be a great one too.
Good advice. We plan on having them in a future show.
Good.
Yeah, I think we have the Rotary Club coming up, and yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of that type shows in the very near future. So I just want to thank you again, Michelle. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Very informative show. And congratulations. And we wish you're a hard worker. You got a great product. And I know you're going to have continued success. So thanks for being on the show.
No, I really appreciate it, John. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to use this forum as a way to thank the community as well.
Yep.
One of the hardest things too is small businesses coming up with the name of the business. And I thought long and hard about it and was
Yeah.
thinking about names that like resonated with me, and knew that one of the pieces of the mission of the company I knew was to give back to the community. And so that's how I landed on Medford Soap Company because I wanted the community to sense some
Cool.
pride from it as well.
Yep.
So just want to thank the community that has really come out in spades to help us have a great launch. And I hope we have many more years of success.
I
So
think you
thank
will.
you
And
very much.
once again, congratulations. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Well, it's that time again. I want to thank Michelle Corrado first for joining us on Method Happenings and much continued success with Method Soap. I want to thank everyone who has been watching the show, and I want to thank you for your feedback. I also want to let you know you could see replays of this show on Method Community Media Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and on our really, really great website, methodhappenings.com. And you can also email us with any questions, comments at methodhappenings02155@gmail.com. I'm going to give you that again. Any questions, comments, concerns, you want to come on the show, email us at medfordhappenings02155@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube, methodhappenings.com, on Facebook at Method Happenings. For the Method Happenings team, Paul, Marco, Bruce, and I'm John Petrella. And remember, stay informed and thank you, everyone.